experts for a panel discussion on the topic, showing the way forward, why we need more mentors in the real estate and financial seeking firms. Okay, so I want you to please put your hands together for our moderator, Miss Megan Elizabeth Blum. Are you here? There she is. It's our moderator. She is agent development a director at Flux Real Estate, along with our panelists, Miss Maya Madcore, who's a professional speaker. We have Mr. Leon Burks Jr., who is the CEO and co-founder of LP Ventures Group. Also, Jessica Atkinson, who is the founder and CEO of WILB Effects. Parag Nevatia, which is the CEO of Easy Funding Solutions, and Jean Trowbridge, the founding partner of Trowbridge Niche LLP, who will share their expertise on the subject.
I almost don't even need it. Just right. Kidding. Oh, there we are. Perfect. Good morning. How are we? Day one. Everyone party hard last night? Yeah, right. Oh my goodness. Cool. Well, we are so excited to get to talk to you all about mentoring and mentorship and kind of what that means for us in our industries and our business. Just to get things started, we're just going to do some quick introductions. So we're going to start right here with Maya Madkor.
Thank you so much. So my name is Maya Matkour. I'm a professional speaker. My purpose in life is to motivate and inspire through speaking, writing, and podcasting. I'll keep it brief.
Next is Leon Burks.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Leon Burks. I am the CEO and co-founder of LP Venture Group. So basically what we're doing with roll-up acquisitions, we find a group of like-minded companies, put them together and package them for private equity firms to purchase. So that's what.
Hello, everybody.
Jessica Atkinson.
Hello, hello. Yes, hello. Jessica Atkinson, CEO of the Will Be Effect. Definitely excited to be here. Just to tell you a little bit about the company, it's WILB, which stands for Woman, Immigrant, Lesbian, Black. So it's about I will be unstoppable. I will be mentored. I will be advocated for. And what we do is we offer project management consulting, and we have a model designed for return on investment so you can see the add value of your project management teams, along with identifying and helping companies that are interested in pursuing mental health for their people leaders, in a sense that how we create mental health workplaces every day. My background is simply 20 years in the financial sector, and really excited to have this conversation about mentoring.
Parag Nevatia.
Thank you. Hello? Not on.
Uh-oh.
Number 5, not on.
You can use me.
All right, guys.
Ooh.
There he is.
I love to sing, by the way. So, Parag Nevatia from Easy Funding Solutions. I own the company from New Jersey. Basically been a banker for 20 years in commercial lending. 10 years ago, I left the corporate world to basically show people how to become bankable. There are 7 different ways we make businesses bankable in the company. Not just getting financing, but also making a business plan that's viable, that makes sense. Business sustainability. How do you actually remain profitable to build equity in the business when you exit, your paycheck is what you think it should be, and so on and so forth. So very excited to be here. This is my third visit at the conference. So very excited for the next 3 days to meet everybody. Thank you.
And Eugene Trowbridge.
Hi, I'm Gene Trowbridge. I'm a securities attorney. I've been in the real estate securities business for 50 years and presently have a firm that helps people combine equity to go out and buy real estate primarily.
Yeah, perfect. And just as a reminder, I'm Megan Blum. I'm the Agent Development Director at Flux Real Estate. We are a small boutique brokerage based out of Seattle. So I have a team that I manage and mentor and coach. I also work with a youth women's development program and kind of help them prepare themselves for post public school, post private school into their kind of graduate or career things, and we kind of work with them on interview skills and things like that. So again, continuing mentorship by giving back as well. So as to get things started, I think it's important to define what a mentor actually is, because I think that we all look at it differently, right? What is a mentor to you as an individual? What is it in our industry? So I think, panel, we want to start with just defining to you what the mentor is in your industry and for yourself.
Absolutely, that's a great question. So I actually, in preparation for this panel, watched like countless TED Talks on mentorship and where the word mentor comes from. It's actually a Greek term, and it refers to an individual that's called mentor, and that person apparently used to mentor people, but it was the Greek goddess Athena that was sort of where mentor got all his knowledge from, which is kind of interesting and ironic at the same time. So mentorship is all about finding someone with more experience, not necessarily older, just more experience and expertise in a specific area that you want to learn and grow in. And to me, mentorship is absolute magic. It's pure magic. It's the difference between light and darkness. So as we start to navigate our lives and as we start to level up and achieve our full potential and leave our undeniable mark on the world, you need mentors along the way. We'll get a little bit more further on in the panel on how you can find mentors, but mentorship is super critical because nobody ever makes it on their own. It's just like you're traveling from, I just got to Vegas last night from Florida. It's like you're traveling from Florida to Vegas without knowing the way. A mentorship shows the way, leads the way, and helps you become the person that you were meant to be.
Takes a village, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Anyone else want to add to that definition?
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to jump in there by talking a little bit about what a mentor is not. I think that helps to also better define it. So it's not a coach that is focused on your behavioral performance, right? And I think that's real important. So oftentimes we think if our boss or someone is teaching us about how to do our job behavior better, that behavioral part, that's mentoring. Mentoring is a focus on the whole person, right? Not on a specific behavior or action. Also, mentorship and mentoring is not advocating. Advocating is when someone is in the room that you can't be in and they are able to champion your skill sets on your behalf. And all of these are important: a coach, a mentor, and an advocator. But I think as you define these and separate them out, it better helps you to understand the value of the mentorship, because the mentorship is the one that's going to get you. The statistics show mentors are 5 times more mentored people are 5 times more likely to get promoted. Right? We can all value that. If you're running a company, mentors are the employees that are being mentored are 25% higher improvements in retention rates. So these are the types of reasons why, this conversation is so important.
Yeah, and I think even Jessica, you had mentioned when we were talking earlier that 84% of CEOs actually attest all of their success to the mentors that they had to get them there, which you're dropping stats, so I'm just going to add to your little wheelhouse there. Yeah, perfect. Well, I think we can segue. I mean, we're kind of segueing into the next question for us, which is, what are the key benefits and values that a mentor brings to an individual's personal and professional development? So why don't we actually start with Leon on this one?
Nice.
I'm good at that.
No, thank you very much. When it comes to, um, what's the best way to say this? Your mentor is the one that has the golden ticket, right? So for me, I was able to find various mentors, but one, they had to be where I wanted to be, right? So being there where you wanted to be, living a life that you want to emulate, also having the, I guess since we're in this type of conference, the more like professional success as well, because you can have mentors in different areas of your life. But what a mentor really brings to the table is not just, hey, this is what you need to do. Let me just clear the robot, but it's accountability, um, helping. They help you see what you already have, and they just help you bring that up. It was kind of a little bit coaching as well, but not a coach, but um, extreme accountability for what you said you were going to do. But the onus is really on, I like to say the onus is on the mentee. So it's up to the mentee to get the mentor to bring them to where they want to go. Because the mentor, he's already there. He or she's already there. They're they're enjoying life. They're living their life. You're coming to them looking for guidance and help. They don't have to help you. So you have to make sure you're adding value for what you're going to get from them. So I think that's we can pass along
Some big
now.
benefits, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll just keep heading down the line. We'll end it with Maya this time.
If I could add to that, like each of us have a quality, right, and a skill that we've developed over years of doing what we do. So just going back to what Leon said, we all have it in us. It's just the matter of getting the right mentor to recognize that, polish it up, help you, assist you to actually bring it out. And once you accomplish that, it could take time. It doesn't happen overnight. But once you accomplish that, then there's no stopping because now you know that you're a leader and you can start mentoring more people. And suddenly we talked about the mentor and the mentee relationship that we will later on. But the more the mentee learns from the right mentor, that's basically what it comes down to.
Yeah, I mean, when you have the knowledge and skill set and you're promoting that to other people, you are now inviting yourself as a mentor to other mentees. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Gene.
Well, I haven't been a W-2 employee for 50 years. And in the real estate and law profession, it's a great place to be alone, a perfect place to be alone. And I've had a lot of people come up to me and say, okay, I'm going to get started. What should I do? And I've always said, if you know what you want to do, find the 3 largest companies that do that and try to get hired because they're large, they have training, they have mentoring. And if no one is going to hire you, then you have to go out and find a smaller company where there's an individual who will mentor you. And I know from my experience that's always been beneficial. I went to law school when I was 45, and then I came out of law school saying, what do I do now? Okay, so I took my advice, and at 45, no one was going to hire me. Okay, no one has thought I'd be a good clerk. Okay, so I had to go out and find some people that I knew who were individuals who I didn't want to work for them, but I wanted them to mentor me. And as this progressed, I now have mentored 3 people who have come to work for me and learned enough from me that they were successful in going out and starting their own firm. And I'm very, very proud of that. And right now I have 2 more people in the office who are doing exactly the same thing, although I'm mentoring them for selfish reasons, a legacy, longevity. Will this firm continue after I retire? And so that's what I'm trying to do, and it is satisfaction to the utmost to be a mentor and see it work.
Oh,
Good job, Gene. Well, and that's the thing. Like, how many of us are 1099 employees in here? Is anyone? Yeah, we got a couple maybe. Yeah, see? Yeah. We don't have bosses, right? That's not like a thing. So really we solely rely on mentors. That's how we develop our skill. That's how we get our experience. Yeah. Jessica, Maya, do you want to add anything to that question?
Well, what I would add is I really want to make sure those who have attended this session about mentoring that we really cut into some of the more deep rooted needs for mentorship. So, as a mentor, and or as a mentee, or someone seeking to be mentored, one of the things you have to look for is how am I going to have that ability to navigate the things that we experience. So I'm gonna say something very clear. Mentors know about being have gaslighting on the job, right? Mentors have experience with unconscious bias. Mentors have experience with microaggressions, with also with imposter syndrome and imposter treatment, right? And I think that often, in order to advance our careers, we have to deal with some of the systemic challenges that you're going to encounter, and how do we navigate those spaces and carve out success for ourselves. So for those who are potentially frustrated with their career projection, that's the add value of this mentorship, is to find people that have had those failures and then have carved out the success despite the environment.
It's really powerful, Jessica. Just I want to share with you guys an interesting story. So for a couple interesting stories, I hope we have time. I have 30 minutes. So I think it's a cliche, but it's the truth. Like I would not be where I am today. I'm from Egypt. I flew in from Egypt. So quite a trip. I would not be here today if it was not for my mom. Like my mom is a super successful woman, best-selling author all across the Gulf states, like in the Arab world, and just an incredible woman. My dad was the same, just extremely successful. My brother is uber successful, has like businesses all over Singapore and Asia and Dubai. And so I come from a long line of ultra successful people that I look up to, and they are my mentors. And I just I keep telling my friends and everybody I know, if I'm able to accomplish like a tenth of my parents' success and my brother's success, I for sure I'm good. So I think mentorship is incredible. If you keep your eyes peeled, and I don't know what's wrong with the mic, but I'm gonna keep going. Um, if you if you keep your eyes peeled, and if you have faith, and if you have a vision, thanks, and just pursue that and believe in yourself, you will start finding mentors. There's this beautiful quote. I'm not sure if it was by Confucius or Bruce Lee, but like when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So when you're ready, you will start to find those mentors and look around you. They exist everywhere. The last story that I want to sort of conclude with this specific question is one of the TED Talks that I watched that almost brought tears to my eyes. It was this incredible young man from like a low socioeconomic background, low SES, from the UK, and he was going to end up being a statistic, right? He was talking on the TED Talk that you either went to entertainment or sports or you ended up being a criminal. And he lost his dad to like alcohol abuse, and his mother, a single mom working two jobs, minimum wage, barely making it. He ended up actually going to like one of the affluent neighborhoods in London, knocked on people's doors and found a mentor that way. And his life, ever since that day, has been completely transformed because he found someone that believed in him, saw the flame within, fanned it, and is just, he became this incredible success story. So believe in yourself and know that you have something to offer to the world, and you will locate that mentor along the way. Sure, go for it.
I'm double fisting now. You want that back? There you go. All right, as we move on to the next question. So, what are the common misconceptions about mentoring that you have encountered, and how would you debunk or address them based on your experience? Who wants to start, y'all?
I'll start. Um, no, a mentor isn't your saving grace. Like I've had various mentors and coaches throughout my career, and realized the mentor is not there to necessarily make your life easier. It's to just help you plan out your own version of success, like Jessica said. But I mean, being able to they do remove a lot of. They can really remove a lot of um, what's the word I'm looking for? Just roadblocks. They can move it out the way, but a lot of misconceptions like they're not responsible for your success. You are. They're not there to bail you out when you do when you have a bonehead move. Um, and they're not there. You're not siphoning from them from like a gas tank. They're not your. They're there to empower you, not necessarily coddle you or. I think we all know what I'm trying to say.
We
so,
got you.
so basically, it's like a lot of times I've had mentors come to have mentees or people who want to be want to me to mentor them, and they have a lot of great questions, and which is great, and I love it. But sometimes it gets to the point where like, do they really understand the nature of this relationship? And if those lines aren't set clearly from the beginning, it can blur the lines. Like, are we friends? Some of my mentors I'm not friends with, but we have that relationship. Said, okay, this is what we're here for. This is what we're going to do. Um, and one of them, she invited me to be on the board of one of her nonprofits. So just be able to have that professional respect and relationship with your mentor and understand their position in life and how you all can work together and coincide. They're not your ride or die. I will say that.
Yeah, I'll add a great Leon. I want to add a little bit to that as far as the misconceptions. The misconception around mentoring is often that we as the mentor don't need to have a don't also need to be mentored, right? And I definitely want to highlight that for myself. I work through the Project Management Institute, the PMI organization, currently out of Dallas, Texas, and provide mentoring to aspiring project managers. In that relationship, that's how I've found a vehicle to give back. There are other ways that I mentor through a company called Pathful Inc. They are phenomenal as well. It gives me an opportunity to go into virtually into the sixth grade classrooms and talk about logistics and blockchain with sixth graders, right? That's entertaining, right? What I want you to get from that is we have this perception our mentor needs to be inside our companies. Our mentees need to be in the places that we work. I definitely want to impart on everyone that we can look outside of our workplaces
Right.
for other avenues to be mentored and to or to be involved in the mentorship experience.
Jean?
There are two things I've learned from being a mentor. Number one, uh, the mentee isn't there to help me get my projects done. This is that's not the relationship. And secondly, I think in picking a mentee, there is a selection process. It's it's flattering to have someone come to me and say, "Will you do this or whatever?" And I kind of stop at that and I say, "Well, let's see if we can work on this." And I try to give them a project, something that I know that if I'm going to mentor them, we'll end up working on in depth. And I'll give them an assignment and give them like 2 weeks to complete it and bring it back to me. And some people never bring
Right.
it back. They think it's
Right.
a lot easier to get a mentor than to do some work. They come back and they haven't put full time into it, or they come back and they're very excited about it, and that helps me because you can't have too many mentees. You know, you've got to select them. So I think those are the two things I've learned.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I could tie on to this, you guys, I think a couple of things is I think people think that mentors have to be naturally born leaders. And I actually don't think that that's the case at all. I actually think some of the best mentors that I've had in my life have been very humble listeners. And I think that's something that a lot of some potential other that people might think that mentors are very good leaders, they're extroverted, they're that, but really it's the ones that have the most humility, right? The ones that really listen that are going to amount to your maximum success. And another one from a personal level is that mentors are always older than you, right? Actually, I think a few of us mentioned this. Every person that's on my team that I mentor and coach, they are all older than me, every single one of them. So yes, it is a hard position to put myself in. But that misconception, it doesn't have to be that way, right? It's all about skill set. Gene, going back to law school at 45, right? You probably had a lot that were younger than you that you looked up to.
Everyone on my team is younger than
Right.
me.
Yeah. Yeah, Parag.
Can I just add something else? This is a great topic. If I could just add that when I had my mentor about 10 years ago, he gave me 400 pages of the SBA compliance report, regulations, and said, go home for a week. I'll ask you 6 questions. I said this to you, Leon, last night. So I'll ask you 6 questions next Monday. I went home crying. Why did I leave my previous job, right? And now the same guy today, after 13 years, tells me that you were saying like what you said, Gene, that it's not that you didn't read the book. I read 200 pages. So the questions that he answered, he knew exactly how many pages I'd gone through. And basically he said that I could mentor you, and it's not just about him, the mentor, anymore. It's the mentee as well. If you're capable of being mentored, so that's the whole idea. If you need to be able to learn, apply, and at some point let go to make the mistakes. Because if you don't jump off the cliff and start swimming, you'll never be able to swim.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you.
I love that. So just to add a few, just to share a really quick thought with you guys, when it comes to mentorship, my sort of take on mentorship is a little different. Like similar to what everybody else on the panel said, they don't have to be older than you. Like a mentor doesn't have to be older than you. They can be much substantially younger, but with more experience. You can find them online now, and like Jean said, if you actually like reach out to someone and set up a meeting first, you don't immediately want to message someone on LinkedIn and be like, can you please mentor me? They're gonna probably like remove you. But
What are you trying
you
to sell
wanna,
me?
you won't, yeah, it doesn't work. It's mentorship is a lot like dating. Like you want to sort of get to know them, hang out, meet one another, see if you have chemistry, and then in the future be like, hey, can you please do you mind mentoring me? Yes or no, and then move on and find someone else. And the last point that I want to conclude with is that um, my personal mentors are everybody, all the teachers that I view online, whether it's Tony Robbins or Robin Sharma or all of the great speakers and teachers and entrepreneurs. I consider them my mentors. So you can find that wisdom that you're looking for also online. Really powerful.
Sure.
This is such a great portion of the conversation. We have an incredible, diverse audience today. So while we're talking about misconceptions, I think it's really important to highlight the big misconception that we can only mentor people in our cultural line, that we can only mentor within our race or ethnicity, right? And I understand that you might feel if you're mentoring that you may not be able to give the right responses to people who maybe don't share the same type of cultural experiences that you do. What I'll share is I'm originally from the Republic of Panama, and I'm actually came to the U.S. after being in a foster home in a third world country. Right? I was adopted. My family brought me here. I have a very unique view on things. Um, I was not mentored in my through my 20 years in the corporate spaces, in technology, in project management, in finance. I've had the opportunity to live outside of the U.S. and work in Jamaica, and even return to my home country and work in the Republic of Panama. The reason that I had a hard time to find mentorship opportunities is why I want to invoke and empower us all to challenge ourselves, to believe that we can provide value to those who are outside of our cultural norms. that there is commonalities between what we can bring to someone who's a little different and how we can support and influence their success. And I think that's such a pivotal point that I'm grateful at this stage of life to be able to be here to say that as someone who did not have that type of opportunity through my journey. And that with having mentorship, I've gone on to be able to, as part of my journey, I have a human rights case um, for marriage equality in the Republic of Panama. My case is in the Supreme Court, and my wife and I are fighting to be the first lesbians or first women married in our home country, and we value the opportunity to live in the U.S. So it is, we have the lawyers here, right? My lawyers are Morgan and Morgan, one of the largest law firms in Latin America that help to support this initiative. But it's because of the mentorship experience that we gain an understanding of our worth, and then we can put it out into spaces and demand our value. So I just wanted to make sure to share that. So thank you.
Thanks, Jessica. All right, moving on to our next question. I'm going to start this one, if that's okay. Answering it, do you mind? Perfect. So what are things you implement as a mentor in your industry with your mentees? Now mine is something very specific, so maybe this is like actual like some advice you could take back or something you could try with your mentees. But with my team, something that I do in all of our team meetings, whether it's weekly, whether it's monthly, is I actually set aside accountability time. So whether it's an hour, whether it's 30 minutes, whether it's 10 minutes, I have every single one of the people on my team go around and say, in the last week, in the last month, what is something that you can hold yourself accountable for, right? Because in 99% of situations, both in your life and in your career, there's probably something that you could have done differently to have a better situation, right? If something didn't go right, if something fell apart, if a mistake was made, there was probably something that you could have done to control that, to make a better decision, right? And so with my team, I really have them look inward to say, hey, maybe you didn't do everything that you could. What's something that you could have done? Because I think the biggest thing, especially in real estate, is we battle egos like nobody's business. So how can I help my team stay humble? How can I help them look inward and say, I can always be doing better? And we always set aside time in those meetings to help them kind of look more deep within themselves. And I think it's really helped take their career and their energy to the next level. Who's next?
I implement I guess, a litmus test similar to Gene, is that I have them write out a project they want to execute or something like that. Or plan, I'm like, okay, what's your plan of attack to get to X, Y, Z goal? And then when they give it to me, I look at it and I said, try again. And then they come back with a different plan. I was like, I asked them, is this your best work? And they'll be like, most of the time, it's no. I'm like, then try again. And they're like, you haven't looked at it. I'm like, if you're not going to give me your best work, why should I invest in you? Right? So once they have that little paradigm shift, like excellence is expected, then I'm able to take what you have. Because if you have anything left in the tank, it doesn't do any good if it's at the end of the game, right? So you leave it out there so that way I know what I can do to help you. And if I can't help you, I'm going to find somebody who can help you to get you to where you need to go. So be able to have that litmus test to see if people are really, if they just want to siphon knowledge from you or they want to work with you and establish that mentor-mentee relationship, I think that's key.
If I could just add to that. So I had two stories. I had a, a senior banker tell me many, many years ago, I'm saying about 20 years ago, that it's not the answer. This is what the mentor says. It's not the answer all the time. It's how you find the right answer, right? Because you could get it wrong as well. And it's okay to make a mistake because you won't learn if you don't make a mistake. But it's not the answer, but it's Parag, you know where to go and get the right answer from because it's so much material available, data available. It's how you apply the answer now, your answer to the situation and make it work and find the right solution. So it's how you answer. Now, the second story I would like to add is my mentor basically gave me a year to make mistakes, right? It's okay to ask me the questions. Don't be afraid to ask me questions. It's okay, because I'll give you a year to ask me all the questions, and after a year, you're going to come back and tell me why we should be doing this loan. So it's the opportunity. You got to let go. You got to teach. You got to let go, and then sit back and see what comes out of it. So thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so just if I may add to that. So there's two types of mentorship out there. Is my mic okay? Can you guys hear me well? There's two types of mentorship out there. There's intentional mentorship and then there's unintentional mentorship. So I pride myself in being an unintentional mentor. What that means is every single interaction that I have, either whether it's face to face in person with you guys, pleasure and honor to be here, or whether it's on my social media, or whether it's, whatever, everything that I do, I strive to be an unintentional mentor. And back home in Egypt, I teach sociology, so I'm an academic. I'm assistant professor of sociology, and I'm also a positive psychologist, but I teach sociology at the university level. Every single student interaction, I teach like 200 students total. So every single student interaction that I have, I strive to be a mentor. I try to lead by example and show the way and just embody the values that I espouse. And I think that can be really powerful when we walk the talk. Essentially, is it's really really critical, and people can immediately spot it. People can immediately tell whether they're dealing with someone that's genuine or not so genuine, and I think that's really really powerful. So something to be said for unintentional mentorship, as you strive to find your own or become one yourself.
Absolutely. All right. As we head into the next question, how has the experience of transitioning from a mentor to a mentee or vice versa at different stages of your career influenced your personal and professional growth? And what valuable insights have you gained from both roles? Who wants to take this one?
Hated it. No, but no, but seriously, it's two completely different skill sets. Being a mentor, then also being a mentee. Um, just having to recognize where you are and where you in that area of space. Sometimes you're going to be a mentee in certain areas of your life for probably the rest of your life. Some other areas that you have locked in and you're killing it. You're operating at 150% with like zero sleep. People, that's just going to be your area of genius, right? So with that, you'll be able to just pour into individuals. But I know one of the major things that I took away in that transition is knowing that the enemy has a vote. And what I mean by that is that everyone else that's outside working with you probably has the same goals and dreams and aspirations as you do as well, if you're in this field. So they have a vote on your deals just as well as you have a vote on your deals. So you just need to be prepared for as much as you possibly can, but understand that you can't control everything, but you need to control what you can control. So
And what's amazing about this is when you're a mentor and you train a mentee, there will come a time, and this is practical, I've lived this, there will come a time where your mentee actually does a lot more than you, and that's okay. Because as a mentor, that's what you want at the end of the day. So I've witnessed that with my mentees, and it's amazing to see them kind of get beyond my thinking point, which is what has happened with my mentor. I look at him and say, when are you going to get a smartphone, right? And and he's finally got one, all right, 5 years ago or something. And it's great because now he's like, Parag, we can do this and we can do that. I'm like, Larry, this happened like 10 years ago. So no. So in all seriousness, it's about bringing new innovations to what you learn and just improve and find the right solutions quickly.
Yeah, I think the mindset of like always being a mentee, right? No matter how much you get to the mentor, because that's really what we're all going to come back to, right? Constant. If you stop learning, you die. So constantly learning, constantly being the mentee, I really think is what promotes the best mentors. And I remember getting into real estate, as I don't know how many real estate agents are in here or in the real estate sector, but it's like once you pass the exam, they say, now forget everything and get out there and figure it out. Well, how do you do that by yourself, right? How do you do that without someone to lean on to give you that? And so now turning it around and being that person to help them after they've passed their exams, right? That's a great transcendental
Right.
point almost, right? Um, awesome. Okay. Oh yes, did you want to tie into that, Maya?
Yes,
Sorry.
sure. Yeah, I love what you said there. I think it's really, really important for us to always be teachable and coachable, no matter how experienced we think we're getting, no matter what the milestones that we cover, no matter the milestones that we hit. I think being teachable and coachable just essentially translates into you hitting that next peak. And once you get to that peak, guess what? You're going to have a new Everest to conquer. And once you get there, you're going to have another Everest to conquer. So there will always be a mentor that you're going to find along the way that's going to help you hit that next peak, that next summit, the next apex of your career. So always, always, always be teachable. It's really powerful, and neuroplasticity ties into it. Your brain you can learn at the age of 95. You're never too old. It's never too late. You can always do it. Our brains are essentially designed to do that. Like they learn and we create neural connections. So it's never ever too late to learn, never ever too late to become the person that you were meant to be.
Just one more thing, sorry.
Sure.
The mentee should be moldable. Those were the two words you used, and I wasn't getting that word, but you got to be moldable to improve. So
Yes, great, moldable. Love it.
Question.
And as we segue into always being the mentee, right? To round it all out, what is one or yeah, we're crushing it. Yep, we're on the last one, so we're doing great. To round it all out, and I've got a couple myself, but I'll let you guys take the floor first. Name one lesson or insight that a mentor has taught you.
Wants to go?
I would share a big reason for this process of mentorship is the learning and unlearning, right? And this is a constant process. I have a degree in accounting, so it's cyclical, right? It's up and it's down. And we are learning from our parents and their generation and the way things worked for them, right? I come from parents that there were pensions. There's no pension now, so I'm going to have to do things differently, right? And the next generation will be faced with new technology. So even as I mentor, if I'm if I'm teaching off of my historical assumptions, right? It's changing again. And I think what's really important is in the mentor as a mentor to identify that fact, and that's been real critical for me is that I have to mentor beyond my past moment, beyond that current moment, if I genuinely want to prepare this person to be successful in their next steps.
Thank you, Jessica. Yeah, Jean.
So the biggest thing I'm getting from mentors, and there are a lot of them, right? This may sound strange. I'm learning social media. I didn't learn very well from this group how to use a Google Doc.
Sorry.
If whatever the hell that's called, I did not learn that.
We
No
tried.
one mentored me. And
Oh,
you
we
know what?
failed you, Jean.
No one, and you know why it didn't happen? Because I didn't ask.
That's right.
I was just in my little shell and I went off and I just didn't ask. So I'm learning all sorts of stuff now. That's a challenge. A lot of people can help me.
Yep.
And I appreciate whoever is in the room who does help me. That's great.
we got to get you on WhatsApp.
I love that. You have to ask.
You got to get him on
I
WhatsApp.
know the WhatsApp
What?
is next. Yeah, we'll get
What?
there. We'll get slowly but
We
surely.
need you
Just-
on the group. We need you on the group, Jean.
10 seconds,
You're
right?
fine. Yeah, we got 3 minutes.
Be a sponge. That's what I learned. Be a sponge, absorb all the knowledge, and then go back out and give it back. So
Love that. Yeah. And I've got anyone else want to?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go.
I had one. Take the attitude that you're hopelessly average. So
That's easy.
So basically, we're all rock stars in our own little ponds and things like that. And there's one thing when I graduated from West Point, they're like, you're a high school hero to West Point zero, right? So when you elevate and you move in your career, what got you there won't keep you there, right? So take the attitude that you're hopelessly average and you have to work just as hard as anybody else, if not more. And then you'll take that humble attitude, there, sponge and absorbing everything and not always being the loudest person in the room.
Yeah. Absolutely. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you. I think the number one takeaway that I have learned from countless hours of Tony Robbins and Robin Sharma and Joe Dispenza and spiritual teachers and entrepreneurs and multi-billionaires, and I just soak this stuff like a sponge. It's what my brain is made of, and my family and the success story that they've had, I think, is fall 7 times, get up 8. Fall 7 times, stand up 8. I think resilience in this day and age with AI and chat GPT and uncertainty and the real estate sector, and we don't know what's going to happen after tomorrow, and just the sheer level of uncertainty that we have to experience on a day-to-day basis and not knowing what's in store for us in the future. I think the number one takeaway that I have gleaned from all of those incredible people that I've had the pleasure of learning from is to fall 7 times, get up 8, and to cultivate that inner reservoir of strength and light that we all have within to keep going and pursue your dreams no matter what.
And to round it all out before you cut us off, because I see a minute 45. So just to round it all out, a couple of things less inspirational as all these 5 people. The first thing I was taught when I got into real estate is figure out your work-life balance. Because that job, all these jobs will swallow you whole if you let it. So I set boundaries for my very first year in real estate to know what goals were going to make me financially successful, but was always also going to allow me a life that was pleasurable, right? That's super important. And the last thing, perception is reality. The speaker before here was talking about perception, perceiving. That is probably the biggest thing, right? It is not about what you think about how you're perceived. It's what everyone perceives about you. That is the true reality. Thank you so much.
For that very eye-opening session. Thank you, esteemed panelists.